We're going to learn, class, about, well, we already learned this already. This is kind of what we discovered in the lab on, what day was that? Block day. So for those of you who aren't here, you could kind of follow along and try to learn what we learned. So is my Moby pen working? There it goes. So in the lab we had some pictures that look, well, first of all, linear pair. I'm going to kind of help you with this. If these two things, so with all these chapters we're going to have conjectures. They're kind of, mathematical hypotheses which we accept to be true. Okay, so this is a linear pair of angles, this angle and this angle. What could you tell me if two angles form a linear pair, then the paired angles add up to 180 degrees. Okay, easy as pie. So you could say like this is 1 and this is 2. So you could say like the measured angle 1 plus the measured angle, measure angle 1 plus the measure angle 2 equals 180. That's fast, right? Is that easy? Vertical angles. Let's look up here. Who can give me a pair up here of vertical angles? Where's a pair of vertical angles? Go ahead, Sarah.
1 and 4.
1 and 4 are a pair of vertical angles. What did you discover in the computer lab about vertical angles?
They have the same measure.
They're the same measure, okay? If two angles are vertical angles, another way to write the same measure is congruent, okay? So you could write the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 4, or you could just say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. And those are vertical angles. This and this. Who can give me another pair of vertical angles? Other than John. Who can give me another? Sawyer.
3 and 2.
2 and 3 or 3 and 2. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 2. Okay? We're good with that? Is that easy? That's easy. All right. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong? Okay, so I am going to grab this piece right here. Watch how creative I am. All right? And we're going to talk, I shouldn't have to talk too much about this because the idea of the lab on Wednesday was that you discovered a lot about this stuff. So corresponding angles, if we did it like this and we made another parallel line, if I have my sketch pad, I would do this, okay? Let's name, and these lines are parallel. These lines are parallel. This thing here is called a, does anyone remember from Friday?
Transversal.
Very nice. That's called a transversal. In your car, if you're driving down the road, the thing connecting your two tires together, you know what that's called? Or your two axles together. You know what that thing's called in your car? That's your transversal, okay? In your car, there's a gear there that's spinning the rods around, or something. I don't know exactly how it works. I'm no car mechanic, but they said, oh, you got something in your transversal that'll cost you $1,000, especially if you have a German car like that. So, anyway, so corresponding angles. So corresponding angles, let's look at some numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So usually I label these by letters, but just to be quick, I'm gonna label them all by numbers. Who could give me a pair of corresponding angles? This is what we should have found out in the lab the other day. Other than Sarah. Who could give me a pair of corresponding angles? Other than John. Yes, Garrett.
7 and 8 and 1 and 2.
No, 7 and 8 and 1 or 2 are not corresponding.
I mean, if you the two, well, it's 7 and 2 and 8 and 1, but
Those are alternate exterior angles. Go ahead, Michaela.
Like 2 and 6.
Yes, 2 and 6 is one pair of corresponding angles, okay? Angle 2 and angle 6. Who could tell me what they discovered in the computer lab between those corresponding angles? Anyone figure out something that's got to be true? What does it appear that's true? Go ahead, John.
They're both the same thing.
They're congruent. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. So corresponding angles are congruent. That's what you should have figured out. So I guess we're not discovering very much geometry like you're supposed to. You know? It's okay. I'm telling you. Who could give me another pair of corresponding angles that would be congruent? Someone else? Yes. Sorry. It's always the quiet kids who tightly. Okay.
1 and 5.
1 and 5. Very good. Okay. So angle 1 and 5 are corresponding angles, and they're congruent. Angle 1 congruent to angle 5. Give me another pair of corresponding angles. Go ahead, Sophie. Sophie or Sophia?
Sophie.
Sophie. Go ahead.
3 and 7.
3 and 7. 3. Very good. 3 and 7. 3 and 7. Okay. Angle 3 congruent to angle 7. There's one more pair. Where is it? Go ahead, Julio.
4 and 8.
Very nice. Yay, Julio. Okay, 4 and 8. See, I gotta pick a different color. Orange. Okay. Oh, pick me. That's not very good. 4 goes with angle 8. So those are corresponding angles, and those are congruent. Got it? Easy? Yes? No? All right. Going back to my conjectures. Alternate interior angles. So if you have a transversal, that's no good. Let's go back again. I want to take a picture of this. Oh, look at all these things. There's corresponding angles, alternate interior. I'll just draw right on here if I can. Can I do that? Maybe. Alternate interior angles are the angles formed when lines are parallel and you have a transversal like that. And alternate interior angles are these ones. This one and this one. Okay? Or, let's go green. Go green. Or this one and this one. Did anyone figure out something about the alternate interior angles? What do you figure out, John?
Does it add up to 180?
Nope.
No, wait.
They don't add up to 180. They're congruent. You should have measured those in the computer lab. Okay? They are congruent. So alternate interior angles, the reason they're called alternate interior angles is because they are the interior of the parallel lines and they alternate from side to side. Okay? So alternate interiors. Basically, whenever you see alternate interiors, they're the angles formed when you have a Z, like this. Okay? So this angle here would be congruent to that angle there. Or a backward Z, like that. Okay, so this angle here, if the lines are parallel, then the alternate, if the lines are parallel, cut by the alternate interior angles. Where's the alternate exterior angles? You talked about that, Garrett, before. Where's the alternate exterior angle in this picture?
They would be outside and then the one.
This one and this one. That's a pair of alternate exterior angles. You should draw a picture to go along with this so that you know what they are when it comes to a test or a quiz. Okay? Alternate exterior angles are the outside ones, like that. And these outside ones over here is another pair of alternate exterior angles. So alternate exterior angles are congruent. Okay? And this thing, just this one right here, summarizes all of those things together. So parallel lines, if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the corresponding angles are congruent. Alternate interior angles are congruent. And alternate exterior angles are also congruent. Okay? So that just goes congruent. Yes? No? We're good? And the very last thing says, this one right here, and this is kind of what you did in the end part, or what you were supposed to do in the end part of that investigation, okay? Is that, okay? If two lines are cut by a transversal to form pairs of corresponding angles, congruent alternate interior angles, or congruent exterior angles, and the lines are blank, what do you think goes in there? No, lines can't be congruent. They go on forever.
Everything's been congruent.
Okay? So this is kind of the opposite of what that, yeah, but lines can't be congruent. That's not very good. I have to fix lines because they go on forever and ever and ever. Okay? So I have to make them go on forever and ever. So here's a line. Here's another line. Can those lines be congruent? They can't be congruent. They have to be something else. So what this is saying, if this angle is congruent to this angle, what is true about these two lines? Dominic?
Parallel.
They're parallel. Thank you. Parallel. So that's called the converse of those conjectures. Did we talk about converse in here? That's the converse. That's when you flip around the if part and the then part. So if two lines are parallel, then the alternate interior angles are congruent. The converse of that is if the alternate interior angles are congruent, then what's true about the lines? They are parallel. Okay, so that's of the converse of the statement. If the corresponding angles are congruent, so if this angle is congruent to this angle, what would have to be true about those lines? They're what? They're parallel. Okay? They're parallel. So what's nice about all this stuff is if you have a picture that looks like this, where you are just given like two parallel lines, and you know, and they give you that this line is parallel to this line, and they tell you that this line is 100 and this angle here is 110 degrees, and they say find all the other angles in the picture. Could you do that? How much does this angle have to be? 70, because it is a linear pair. How much does this angle have to be? 110, because it's a linear pair with this one, or it's a vertical angle with this one. How much is this one? 70, right? How much does this one have to be? See, this is corresponding with that. That's 70. How much does this one have to be? 70. How much is this one? 110. How much is this one? 110. So knowing just one of those angles, I can figure out everything else. Now, sometimes what they do is they want to really mess you up, and they'll do something like this. They'll like throw in, you'll see some of these in your homework tonight. They'll throw in something that looks like this. And they'll say, aha, this is parallel to this, and this line here, okay, whoops, I missed. This line here is parallel to this line. Well, can you tell me about this angle? How much does that angle have to be? 70. And then you could go back through it and find all those other angles, right? See the way that works? Stuff. Is that easy? Okay. Guess what? I'm done. You have 25 minutes to do some homework. And your homework is, I changed it on my website, so I'm going to find it on my website as soon as I get out of here. It is where am I? Index. Let's see if I indicate it on my website. Geometry assignments. We're now in chapter 2, and so I need to refresh that because that's not what I have to. There it is. Page 123, 1 through 10. So that'll be some short ones. Please draw the pictures. Good. Draw the pictures. I can even grab a picture of this to make it bigger. The vertical angle section is really easy, okay? Draw the diagrams. Draw pictures to go with it. You could get at least the first part. You could probably get the whole part done in class. It's not that. It's quick. So give that a shot. And remember, you heard it here on Mr. Leader's Cutting Edge YouTube channel. Yeah. Mr. Leader. You're so Gucci.
Okay. I had to end that with,